Good morning. I'm glad you could join us. In case you didn't guess, I really like history. It's what I studied when I was in college. I was going to be a high school history teacher. But I love going back and finding things, and this goes back to World War II. There's a theologian, his name is Jürgen Moltmann, and he's from Germany. And I probably read some of his stuff back when I was in Bible college, and I recognize the name. Well, Philip Yancey tells a story about him from the back page of Christianity Today from September 2005, and it's in his book Grace Notes. And I find it interesting. I hope you do as well. He had a chance to meet him, and he said that even though that his writings were very scholarly, that he had a charm and a sense of humor that really surprised him. So Moltmann was planning to be a career in quantum physics until he was drafted at age 18. He was in Germany. He was a part of World War II, and he was assigned to anti-aircraft batteries in Hamburg. And he saw compatriots that were just incinerated by firebombing and all kinds of things. And he had this survivor's guilt, like why did I survive? And I've talked with people, I've talked with family members who've gone through that, why they survived something and others didn't. He was haunted by it. Well, after surrendering to the British, he spent time in camps in Belgium, Scotland, and also in England. And as he more and more learned the truth of what the Nazis were, he felt an inconsolable grief about life. It was just horrible. He had no Christian upbringing. He had no Christian background, but there was an American chaplain who gave him a copy of a New Testament with Psalms. It was signed, probably not personally by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, but he read in there, the psalmist say, "If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there." And he just wondered, could God really be in a dark place like that? But he became convinced that God was present even behind the barbed wire. Maybe even more profoundly, he was more present there. He was convinced that God was there behind the barbed wire. And then he got transferred to a YMCA camp, which I think is pretty cool because I went to a YMCA school, George Williams. George Williams founded the YMCAs. And in those days, the C was a major emphasis. It was a big emphasis for young Christian, for young men to come to Christ. And the local population there welcomed these German soldiers there, and they didn't heap guilt on them because of the war. And that's really impressive in and of itself. They cooked homemade food for them, and he learned about the gospel there. He learned about Jesus there. And upon release, he began to articulate a theology of hope. Here's what it says: we exist in a state of contradiction between the cross and the resurrection. Surrounded by decay, we nonetheless hope for restoration. A hope illuminated by the foreglow of Christ's resurrection. Christ's resurrection didn't change everything yet. It's going to change absolutely everything, and we know that. We know that the victory is coming. But we still live on planet Earth. We're pretty much Saturday kind of people. We're all going to die unless we get raptured to be with Jesus in the air. So we still live on planet Earth, but we have a tremendous hope. Jesus gives us this foretaste. And Easter is the beginning of the laughter of the redeemed, God's protest against death. I like that. That it's very realistic. We live in a dark world. I love how Moltmann came to Christ through all the horrific things that he experienced and being in enemy hands. And yet those enemies reached out to him with kindness and with the gospel of Jesus. I think that's a great story. And then in a single sentence, he expresses the great span from Good Friday to Easter. And I'll close with these words: God weeps with us so that we may someday laugh with him. God weeps, he weeps with you, but one day we're going to laugh with him. God bless you. Have a great week.